Wow. And I'm supposed to follow. Maybe what I have to say will help you reach your unreachable star, seemingly unreachable, because they should be reachable if we do it in a godly way. So. My husband and I are about to take on a trip. And so I'm all packed and ready to go. I'm just going to throw it in the car and take off. No, I'm just kidding. Not that organized. But I wanted to use these pieces of baggage as an example of what happens to us on our spiritual journey through life. So I'm going to introduce each suitcase to you. This one is one that is given to us. We don't have any choice as to what goes in that piece of baggage. What is in there is all the stuff that we got from our parents, from our ancestors, from our culture. It's we call it the race consciousness. Wherever you are, there is stuff that is told you. It's in that bag. And as I said, we don't have any choice in what's handed down to us. The scriptures say, do not worship false gods, false idols. I do not have, do not worship false idols or impressions, false impressions. I do not leave unpunished the children for the sins of the father 2, 3, and 4 generations. And so this is loaded with bad habits, with misperceptions about what life should be. If any of you have parents or grandparents out of the Depression era, it leaves us with a lousy prosperity consciousness. There are eating disorders and negative thinking, abuse, depression, some sicknesses, and they're in there. It's filled with wrong mindsets, or what we would call sins, those false impressions that we carry with us. And the people who loaded up these bags didn't do it mean-wise or with ill intention. They just made some poor choices. And my question is, do we have to keep hauling it around? The answer is no. We can recognize that there's stuff in here that does not serve us well, and we can begin to remove it, take it out of our consciousness. I'm reminded of a story, and you've probably heard this. It was one of the first jokes I learned way back when, about the young bride who, when she was preparing a dinner, took the ham and cut off the end and put it aside. And her husband said, "Why are you doing that?" And she said, "My mom always did it." So she called her mom, and her mom said, "I don't know, Grandma always did it, and Grandma happens to be here, we'll ask her." So, "Grandma, why did you cut off the ham?" And she said, "That way it would fit into the pan." How many of us carry things like that, you know? Let's go back to the source. Let's go back and figure out, is it serving us well or not? So, we don't have to carry it. Just because it's been in the family for generations doesn't mean it has to stay and be visited upon future generations. So do yourself a favor and your children a favor and begin to unload some of the junk. Now this bag, we have to take more responsibility for. This one is filled with all the things we pick up along the way. From our parents, from our siblings, from our peers, from our teachers, anyone that we gave power to help define our self-concept. And so things like, you are always so clumsy. You come in last in the race. I worry about you because you're accident prone. Reminds me of another story. Young man had his 18-month-old child in a backpack on his back, and he was rushing to catch the bus. But he fell down a flight of stairs, 13 stairs he fell. He got up, bruised, bloody, torn jeans, but his first concern was his son. And all of his fears were alleviated when he heard, "Again, Daddy, again!" Many of the comments that may be spoken in jest, spoken only once, can be picked up, stuffed in the recesses of the mind, and it is more baggage. Here is a confession I'll make. When I was in the 2nd grade, we had a square dance class, and he said, girls on the right, guys on the left. Well, I got on the wrong side, and he said, you don't know your left from your right. I still don't feel confident in that. It took me years, and I worked with it to get over that. But that teacher probably doesn't remember by the end of the day what he had said, but it stuck with me. That's the sort of thing that we tuck in that bag. So it's when we wake up and we realize, I have a choice now. There's a current expression in our culture which I do not like. In fact, I wrote it here, but I have a big cross out on it. And I would hope you would be mindful, and it's me bad. A lot of people say, me bad. No, my choices may have been incorrect, but I am not a bad person. So, just be very careful for the words that are said as we go about, because negative words playing repeatedly in the conscious and the subconscious are held on to for years. I know my sister used to say unkind things about my hair color. She had beautiful brown hair, and I had dishwater blonde. But now, hey. One thing I love with our YOU, and probably in this church you've probably sung it too, is that song, how could anyone ever tell you you are anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? Remember, you are a child of God. That's a pretty big title and a pretty big privilege. You are a child of God. And you can do all things through Christ who dwells within. Your potential is inside, not in the baggage. So, don't let other people continue to determine your potential. That impossible dream. Vincent van Gogh said, if you have a voice within saying you can't paint, by all means paint until you silence that voice. You can't run. Well, run until that voice is silenced. Let go of the past, for God has another plan for you. One of the beautiful things about God is a God of second chances, third chances, fifth chances, eighth chances, however long it might take. God is there to help. What happened in the past is not nearly as important as what happens in the future. So stop thinking about it, stop talking about it, stop reliving it. All those negative experiences, draw a curtain on them. When the pains of the past beckon you, don't go back there. Let go, and let go of this excess baggage. Now, we don't do it alone. We ask for God's help in doing it. For we are children of God, and He wants us to perform wonderful things, be it that impossible dream. My impossible dream is different from your impossible dream, but they're achievable as long as we keep our faith. Now, this one is light, and it's filled with unfulfilled dreams. Many of us have those dreams, that impossible dream maybe, but we have those dreams, and we tuck it in here until we get, fill in the blank, till I get more education, till I get more money, till I get the right job, we put it off. And as long as we are avoiding taking that step, it will stay as an unfulfilled dream. Now, Dara Torres was a 5-time Olympian swimmer. She swam in 5 Olympics. She won 12 medals, and she was 1/100th of a second from winning the gold medal at age 41, competing against those 16, 17-year-olds. It's possible. Age is just a number. Don't let it define who you are. 5 frogs sitting on a log. One decides to jump. How many are left on the log? 5. Deciding is different from doing. We only fulfill the dreams when we take that leap forward, when we take that step. The challenge is to take that first step in creating a new job, a new home, a new relationship, whatever it might be. We have to take that first step. Now, many times those first steps are inside. And a change in consciousness. And Judy said it took our church 9 years to create that beautiful building. And I didn't do it. Thank you for saying so. I didn't do it. It was a God job and a congregation. Everybody was involved. I've got a couple here that I know worked really hard on that. And so it took us 9 years. And you say, wow, that's a lot of time. But the work needed to be done in here. When we sold our old property, the consciousness of the collective group was the furniture, anything left over from the garage sale was now the office furniture. That was the consciousness. We had to move, and it was interesting. I was thinking in my mind, we got new furniture, or newer furniture when we moved into the Trend West building, and then we got newer furniture when one of our members worked for a bank that downsized, and then we got newer furniture. So not only was the furniture changing, but our consciousness was changing. And don't you think it's one of the most beautiful church facilities? Yeah, it's a beauty. So, but we had to make ourselves a congregation that could sustain it. Not financially so much as internally. The consciousness that this is ours and we're going to keep it. So we need to become the best person for that job, the best person for that relationship, whatever it is we're striving for. We need to do some inner work so when we actually obtain that dream, we're able to sustain that dream. So keep dreaming, but do the work inside. Stop waiting for others to suddenly say, here's a key to a new building, you can have it. It doesn't work that way. Prepare yourselves internally. So, currently this is unfulfilled dreams that hopefully some of your dreams will be fulfilled. Now this little bag is the smallest. This piece of baggage has within it all the people and the situations that have gone unforgiven. And it goes wherever we go. And after a while, it weights us down. If we want to enjoy the adventure of life, experience the richness and fullness that we are intended to experience, we need to let go of the past. The past hurts. The past emotional wounds. Maybe the present hurts. Maybe the present emotional wounds. We need to work with them so that we can forgive. And forgive means to give forth. So if I want to forgive something, it's easier for me to go to God and say, I'm going to give forth to you this problem that I have, this irritation that I have, this anger that I have. I'm going to give it to you, God, and you're going to help me come to peace with it. Turn it over to God. It says in the scriptures, come to me all you who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I remember years and years ago, Robert Schuller, I believe, did it. He said, he was telling the story about a man who couldn't forgive. He ran a dry cleaners or something, and the customer was coming in that he didn't really have good experiences with. And he was trying to work on forgiveness, so he went, God, through my heart, help me bless this person. Person entered in, everything went smoothly. So don't forget you have a tremendous resource with you at all times, available, almost begging you to turn and allow God to work with you. The impossible is possible with God. Give it over to God. If we don't forgive, we're slowing down our progress, our spiritual progress, And not only slowing down, but we're harming ourselves, sometimes physically even, if we hold on to heavy old wounds. There may be deep scars. Don't let them determine how you will experience the rest of your life. Forgive others and forgive yourself. Don't continue to be of the victim consciousness. I'm reminded of a story that Emmett Fox wrote about. It was about a group of hunters around their campfire, and they were cooking a stew, and for some reason they left in a hurry, emergency of some kind, and an old bear came out of the woods. Maybe that's why they left, I don't know. But an old bear came out, and he was looking around, and he saw this kettle boiling, and the lid was clapping away, and it bothered him and annoyed him. And what does the bear do? I'm told that the enemy grabs it and holds it to the chest and crushes it. However, the hot kettle didn't crush. What it did was scald the bear. And the more it hurt, the more he held on to it. And that was his demise. And so bear hugs kettle is a good reminder to us, let it go. If there's something we need to forgive, let it go. We don't want to be burned by it. We want to live a healthy life and have a good attitude. Let go of the hurts and let go of that bag. It's extra heavy. Now this bag, this is an interesting one. This is full of unanswered questions. And the biggest unanswered question is why? Why not? Why me? Why now? Why is this happening? That's what's in that bag. I'll tell you the answer that worked for me. In meditation once, I was really in this powerful meditation. I was feeling really great. Wow. And I said, why, God? And when? And the answer was, I don't answer why, and I don't answer when. Do you have any other questions? And at first I was a little annoyed. But later I began to realize the wisdom in that. If I had known why, or especially if I had known when, my behavior would have changed. Either I would have leapt forward, or I would have, it's going to happen anyway, why should I try? And would have stunted my growth. Or I would have avoided somebody because I knew there was going to be a challenge later on. So you don't know, well, we want to know why and we want to know when, but we have to be at peace with the idea we may never have the answer. I have found that in time we may come to an answer that's comfortable for us. It may not be the true answer, but it helps us move forward. But we need to maybe live with the idea that we will never know the answer. But don't use unanswered questions as a reason for not moving forward or for wallowing in self-pity. I don't know why this just happened to me, and nothing ever goes the way I want. No. Move forward. Learn. You're on a great journey, so leave that stuff alone and move forward. Many of the answers come to us when we are ready. But we have to learn to trust God in the process. The apostle, it wasn't an apostle yet, but Peter asked a question of Jesus. And Jesus says, why is that important to thee? Come, follow me. Just because we don't have the answer doesn't mean that the answer isn't there. It may be that we haven't matured spiritually enough to handle the answer. And so we do our spiritual work. And if it's important for us to know, it will come. Or an answer, maybe not the best, but we'll be able to go through life. The timing may not be right. The people around us may not be right. There is the right time, the right environment, the right maturity, but we will be at peace. If we had all the answers, we wouldn't be walking in faith. Years ago, when we were going through a troubled time, somebody sent us this as a poem. It was a greeting card, but I like the poem. It says, God sends his best to those who leave the choices to him. I said, God, I must know where you are leading me. I ask to view thy plans. I need to see. And he said, if you must see, and my plans you must know, then you can't walk by faith and follow where I go. I said, dear God, forgive. I ask no more to see. Teach me to walk by faith, that I may walk with thee. The identification tag on this one should read, God, I don't understand, but I trust you. And we let that one go. These are just some of the things that we carry with us. Some of the bigger pieces that we drag through life. And all I'm asking you today is to be aware of that. And there may come a time you say, you know, that's a piece of baggage I don't need to continue to carry with me. We make choices, and we decide which choices work for us and which ones no longer serve us. For a period of time, it may have served us and served us well, but the time has come we've outgrown it. We don't need it anymore. Lighten the load. You know, the airlines have caught on to this idea. They charge you for extra suitcases, for extra baggage, and they charge you the heavier that baggage is. So if they're doing it, we can do it first. We can get rid of some of that extra baggage. Jesus said, I come that you may have life abundant and eternal. So lighten the load. And with the help of the divine, we can't do it alone. Sometimes we think, I'm going to do this all by myself. I can handle this. And if I can't do it, then I'll ask God. Well, how about asking God earlier on? Might save a lot of time, a lot of sweat. So realize our journey is to be life abundant. Our journey is to be life eternal. And we do that from the scripture. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. And then all that is necessary will be added. And all that is excess will be released. And so I say, God bless you and bon voyage. Thank you. Surrender. And let us do that by breathing gently. Remember, as you are breathing, you're inviting the breath of God to come through you, to you and through you, to express as you. And during this time, I invite you to allow my words to enter your conscious mind as though you were speaking them for yourself. Moving into that quietness that I call the silence, where I come into communion with you, O Lord. Let my soul surrender into your care and keeping. If there are hindrances, blockages that are restricting your flow of purity, help me surrender. I choose to release those things that no longer serve your purpose. And my anxiety betrays my trust in you. So help me. Release anxiety as I surrender my soul unto you. And I breathe in your spirit of life. I surrender and I let go. And allow you to rule in my life. And I'm reminded of the daily word this week that said, in truth, I am not bound by the past, not my own, my family's, or anyone else. I'm liberated by spiritual principles of unconditional love, infinite grace, and divine wisdom. I am free to choose a new path of greater love, peace, and joy. I take up your invitation to come, having been burdened and heavy laden, and you promised rest, so I come to you now. And we both can see the foolishness of my past when I tried to do it alone. Knowing that you're so willing to open your heart and share your love with me. By coming to you, I release my burdens, letting them go. I am renewed and refreshed. I desire to experience life more fully and freely. To experience heaven here on earth. To experience your blessings here and now. I release and I am free. Let my soul surrender, and greater I shall be. And so I release this prayer in the name and nature of the living, loving Christ.